Why is it that you out of millions were chosen to carry 7 gifts so dangerous they burn like fire in your hands and shine like a torch in the darkness? Chosen one, do you not feel it? This is no coincidence. From childhood, when others walked blind, you already saw what they could not. You were forged like a sword in secret fire, prepared for a battle that has now arrived. Comment 777 if your spirit already trembles with this truth. These are not harmless talents, they are lightning bolts placed in your soul. Weapons of heaven that terrify the enemy. Others bury their essence and fade into the crowd. But you cannot. You feel too much. You know too much. And this knowing is dangerous not to you, but to the systems of darkness that fear your awakening. That is why God trusted you. To those who have stood with this channel, and especially those who've supported through super thanks, I offer my deepest gratitude. You are not just viewers, you are carriers of the same light. And even if you have never given, your presence here is proof that you are part of this rising army. Now, the moment has come. Today I will reveal the 7 dangerous gifts that prove you were set apart before the foundations of the world. They are signs, they are weapons, and they are assignments. Once you know them, you can never go back to pretending you are ordinary. Are you ready to step into the truth? God's chosen ones. Why only you were given these 7 dangerous spiritual gifts? Among the 7 dangerous spiritual gifts entrusted only to God's chosen ones, the first to awaken is the mysterious and haunting gift of deep intuition. It is not mere instinct, not a passing thought, not a coincidence wrapped in emotion. It is a voice that does not thunder from the heavens, but whispers with a firmness that pierces through the chaos of noise around you. Why does it strike so clearly? As if eternity itself leans forward to guide your next step. Scripture declares, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30-21. And the chosen feel this verse written in their very bones. This intuition bypasses logic and experience, as though it were carved into the invisible structure of heaven itself, resonating deep within your chest like the low vibration of a cathedral bell. Have you ever felt chills flood your body for no reason? As if unseen currents of divine power moved through your bloodstream. You know it is more than thought. It is your soul responding to knowledge not yet unfolded in the physical. Leonardo da Vinci, the Renaissance genius, once said that the noblest pleasure is the joy of understanding. And in the chosen ones, understanding comes not from study alone, but from a secret communion with the invisible. From childhood, many of the chosen recall moments when they sensed danger long before it revealed itself. A stranger's smile concealed betrayal. A room carried an atmosphere heavy as smoke. Or joy leapt into their hearts moments before good news arrived. Like Joseph in Egypt, who interpreted Pharaoh's dreams before famine came. Chosen ones realize that ignoring these early signals leads only to regret. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. Amos 3-7. Is it not astonishing that what feels like a fleeting sensation can actually be God's hidden preparation for battles unseen? Intuition manifests not only in waking life, but in dreams that blaze into memory like fire on parchment. These are not idle images that vanish with the dawn, but dreams heavy with meaning, faces you have never met, yet instantly recognize. symbols that carve themselves into your spirit, warnings that linger for days. The chosen know when a dream is mere imagination and when it is a divine telegram. When Jacob dreamed of the ladder reaching to heaven, angels ascending and descending upon it, he awoke, saying, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." Genesis 28-16. Can you see how the chosen ones live between worlds? Walking on earth yet tuned to the frequencies of heaven. There are moments when this intuition becomes almost unbearable, when the logical mind argues for one choice. But the pull of the Spirit drags you in another direction with a gravity that feels irresistible. To ignore it is to invite chaos. To obey it is to discover that the universe was already arranging every detail on your behalf. The 18th century composer Joseph Haydn, when asked why his sacred music carried such life, replied, "When I think upon God, my heart is so full of joy that the notes fly off as from a spindle. And as I have a cheerful heart, He will forgive me if I give Him a cheerful note." Intuition works in the same way. Notes of guidance spill into your life. And if you allow them, they write the symphony of your destiny. Yet this gift carries danger, for it sets you apart. In relationships, in careers, in the smallest or greatest decisions, the chosen often move against the tide of the crowd. Friends may mock, colleagues may scoff, family may question, but later they watch as the chosen walk into victories no one else foresaw. Is this not the very thing Paul meant when he wrote, "For we walk by faith, not by sight"? 2 Corinthians 5-7. To live by intuition is to live by a compass unseen, a compass aligned with heaven's blueprint. In history, the testimony of the chosen shines. Joan of Arc, a peasant girl with no military training, claimed she heard divine voices directing her. Despite ridicule, she followed the whispers and led France to victories historians still marvel at today. Her dangerous intuition, unexplainable and unstoppable, shifted the destiny of a nation. Intuition, then, is not weakness. It is the divine thread weaving heaven into your every step. It matures over time. What begins as a vague nudge grows into a sharp directive. And as this gift ripens, you discover that what once unsettled you becomes your truest weapon. Sharper than any human wisdom, clearer than any earthly compass. My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. This is the first dangerous gift, intuition. The silent symphony between your soul and heaven. It will not impress the world, but it will preserve you. It will not make you popular, but it will keep you chosen. Rise, chosen one, and do not shrink from this gift. Stand firm. For the world needs those who dare to walk by a voice no one else can hear. The chosen one no longer trembles in panic when storms of chaos rage around them, because they have learned to anchor themselves in the compass placed within by the hand of God. This compass is not drawn on maps, nor written in textbooks, nor approved by crowds. It is the voice that whispers when the crowd screams the opposite. How is it possible that when the world shouts no, the soul of the chosen still dares to say yes? It is because Psalm 37:23 declares, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way, even in a path cloaked in shadows. Intuition grants the assurance that solid ground will rise beneath each step. This gift creates clarity where sight sees nothing, courage where fear expects collapse, Is it not like walking blindfolded yet knowing the floor beneath will never vanish? And when the chosen one looks back upon their path, astonishment fills their heart. Every turn, every obstacle, every detour reveals itself as an exact alignment with heaven's hidden design. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. Romans 8:28. Confidence, once fragile, becomes unshakable. Self-trust, once buried beneath doubt, emerges like fire from stone. Intuition silences the desperate hunger for applause or validation. The chosen no longer beg for others to confirm what they already perceive, for they have discovered that perception itself is divine language. Have you not experienced moments when something urged you forward or restrained you, and later you realized it changed everything? To ignore this whisper is to invite regret. To obey it is to open the gates of destiny. Proverbs 20:27 reminds us, "The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all the innermost parts of his being." What, then, could be more valuable than a lamp lit by God himself? Nature mirrors this truth with startling clarity. The giant redwood trees, standing for thousands of years, have roots that intertwine beneath the soil, unseen. Yet they hold entire forests upright through storms and earthquakes. In the same way, the roots of divine intuition hold the chosen steady, invisible yet unbreakable, when winds of doubt and voices of opposition attempt to topple them. But history also warns us through those who rejected the inner compass. The tragic figure of King Saul, Israel's first monarch, at first chosen by God. He later abandoned obedience to that inner directive, preferring the approval of men. His impatience and disobedience led him to consult forbidden mediums and ultimately stripped him of his throne and his peace. Is this not proof that to silence the divine whisper within is to walk into ruin, even if the world applauds your choices? 1 Samuel 15:23 declares, "Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry." This man formed the tranche and the Upti Lavand, the chosen. However, learn through trial and patience that listening to this whisper sharpens it. Each time they obey, the voice grows clearer. Each time they trust, the path becomes straighter. This is why so many testify that their true spiritual journey began not in libraries, not in classrooms, but in the raw silence of their own soul. No preparation was demanded, no ritual required, only attention. Why must everything be explained? When some truths were designed to bypass the mind and enter only the heart, Jesus said in John 14:26, "But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and remind you of everything I have said to you." The chosen understand this teaching not as theory but as experience. The more they respect this voice, the stronger it resounds. It is like an orchestra. At first, faint instruments are drowned by noise, but as each listens to the conductor, harmony fills the hall. Similarly, intuition becomes a symphony, guiding the chosen into alignment with God's score for their life. And though critics may demand evidence, the chosen stand firm, because truth is not always measured by sight, but by the unfolding of time. Hebrews 11:1 declares, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." En uncastret, this is why the chosen no longer collapse under the weight of confusion. They listen, they trust, they follow. Their inner world is not chaos, It is a sanctuary where God himself whispers, and as the whisper matures into a roar, they rise not as wanderers but as warriors who know their path is lit from eternity. Rise, chosen one, for the compass has already been placed in you. Do not doubt. Do not shrink back, for now is the time to walk boldly where others cannot see. The second gift, far more dangerous than many imagine, is the sacred fire of healing empathy. It is not sympathy dressed in kind words, nor exaggerated drama to impress others. It is raw, burning truth. The chosen do not simply recognize the pain of another, they carry it as if the wounds were carved into their own flesh. Why is it that when others can walk past, suffering untouched, the chosen feel the ache in their chest, the heaviness in their bones, the sting in their own spirit? Because, as Romans 12:15 declares, rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. For the chosen, this is not a suggestion, but a reality of their very existence. And each time they embrace that sorrow, they discover that love becomes sharper, and mercy becomes their second nature. It is not an act of weakness, but of divine courage. For only those strong enough to feel pain deeply can also release healing deeply. This gift is not a passing sensitivity, it is a force of spiritual gravity, pulling the chosen one into the unseen currents of another person's soul. Entering a room, they feel what others conceal, the laughter hiding despair, the silence dripping with anguish, the smile that trembles on the edge of tears. Could this not be the Holy Spirit, allowing them to glimpse the invisible architecture of human hearts, the very foundations of joy and sorrow woven like beams inside a cathedral? In such moments, Jeremiah's cry becomes their own. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Jeremiah 8:22. And with that cry, the chosen begin to understand that their presence is not random, it is placement by divine design. Their life becomes less about personal comfort and more about serving as God's living instrument in the chaos of human suffering. Because of this, people in crisis are drawn to the chosen as iron shavings drawn to a magnetic field. Strangers feel safe. Children instinctively cling. And even the hardened pour out secrets they swore they would never tell. A woman named Helena, a humble baker in Krakow, once said that during her husband's long illness, she found more peace simply standing beside her neighbor who said almost nothing, but whose presence carried a warmth that words could not. Helena whispered. It was as if her silence was prayer. Does this not reveal how chosen ones often heal, not through action alone, but through the invisible resonance of their very being? Their energy becomes sanctuary, their silence becomes a hymn, and their gaze becomes a mirror, reflecting hope to those who thought hope was gone. Some channel this gift through words that strike like lightning into confusion, others through a gaze that reaches past walls, others still through the laying on of hands. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well. Mark 16:18. Many testify that warmth floods their palms, tingling energy rises in their body, or tears break forth without cause when they are near the suffering. What scientists might call bioelectric resonance, known as holy power flowing through them. Is this not the body becoming a living instrument of heaven's healing frequency? And when the frequency of their spirit collides with the broken rhythms of another, harmony is restored. Their touch becomes like the first note of a symphony after silence, gentle yet commanding, subtle yet undeniable. But with this dangerous gift comes exhaustion. The chosen sometimes stagger beneath emotions that are not their own. They weep without knowing why, feel drained after a single conversation, or wake heavy though they slept the night. What else can it be but the weight of burdens transferred to them in silence? This is why boundaries are essential. For even Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Luke 5:16. Could it be that without solitude, the healer collapses under the very wounds they were called to mend? For just as a well must be refilled or it runs dry, the chosen must return to God for replenishment, lest they burn out under the fire they were entrusted to carry. Rest, then, is not selfishness, it is survival. Psychology would call this mirror neurons firing. Physics might speak of resonance between frequencies, but the chosen understand it differently. Their soul is an open channel, tuned to the cries of creation itself. The whole creation has been groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time, Romans 8:22. And through the chosen, fragments of that groaning are felt, so that streams of comfort may flow back into a thirsty world. Does this not show how even science and spirit collide to confirm the same truth, that empathy is both cosmic and personal, vast as the universe, yet intimate as a whisper? And when that whisper aligns with prayer, it becomes thunder in the unseen realm. Yet empathy is not permission to be crucified by every pain. The chosen must learn that healing is not about saving everyone, but about being a bridge between chaos and peace, between sorrow and light, between despair and hope. To judge harshly is foreign to them, for they see behind every cruel word a story untold, behind every reckless act a wound unhealed. Is this not the very compassion of Christ on the cross when he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing"? Luke 23:34. True empathy creates lenses that pierce through hatred and reveal the broken child hiding beneath the armor of anger. And in that moment, healing begins, and history warns of the opposite. In the 16th century, Ivan the Terrible of Russia, consumed by paranoia and cruelty, hardened his heart so completely that he slaughtered even those closest to him, including his own son. Had he allowed even a spark of empathy to survive, could his reign have turned from terror to mercy? His legacy proves that the absence of compassion births destruction, not only for others but for oneself. Entire kingdoms crumble when leaders extinguish empathy, for power without compassion becomes a blade turned inward, poisoning its own master. The contrast between the chosen who heal and the tyrants who destroy could not be clearer. The chosen who embrace this gift discover that empathy, when surrendered to God, becomes more than pain, it becomes power. It becomes the holy bridge where the broken cross over into healing. It becomes the cathedral of the soul, where every resonance, every vibration, every unspoken ache rises like incense before God. And as time passes, what once overwhelmed them becomes their sharpest weapon against despair. The gift that nearly broke them in the beginning becomes the crown that defines them in the end. Rise, chosen one. Do not despise this dangerous gift. Protect it, channel it, and let it flow. For the world is desperate for hearts that can feel what heaven feels. Stand up now, for healing empathy has been written into your very being, and through it, the wounded will find light again. The third gift entrusted to the chosen is perhaps the most fearsome of all, for it blurs the line between earth and heaven, the gift of communication with the divine. Not everyone hears the voice of God, but those who carry this gift feel the eternal whisper so intimately, so undeniably. that it is as if heaven itself bends low to breathe directly into their hearts. When others stumble in shadows, the chosen walk with clarity, for their dialogue is not with flesh and blood, but with eternity. Does it not send shivers down your spine to realize that while the masses search for signs in chaos, a chosen one receives whispers in silence that shift destinies? My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. And each time that voice arrives, it is not vague, it is precise. Like a key turning inside a lock that had seemed impossible to open. The chosen know, in that instant, that they are not abandoned, but guided. This sacred dialogue manifests in different ways. Some hear words that resound like thunder in their inner ear. Others see flashes of symbols, images, or visions that defy logic, while others simply know without explanation. How can wisdom appear in the mind like lightning out of a clear sky? How can direction come while the world demands confusion, yet again and again? In prayer, in meditation, or even in the simplest of tasks, washing hands, walking through a crowded street, or gazing at the endless canopy of stars, the chosen suddenly sense a message that is not their own. And when it comes, it silences every doubt. Proverbs 2:6 reminds us, "For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding." What could be more powerful than being entrusted with the very words of God carried in your own soul? And if God entrusts his words to a chosen one, is it not proof that heaven trusts you to carry mysteries too great for others? To those who bear this gift, clarity often arrives in the darkest hour. One moment, they are lost in indecision, torn between choices, paralyzed by fear. And then, like a switch thrown in the vast architecture of heaven, a light ignites within. What was once confusion transforms into certainty. What was once despair becomes resolved. Your word is a lamp to my feet, a light on my path. Psalm 119:7. Could there be any greater miracle than a human soul suddenly illuminated by the radiance of divine instruction? This is more than relief. It is strategy. It is divine alignment. It is a reminder that their steps are part of a larger story, unfolding far beyond what human eyes can see. When the chosen obey this inner voice, their lives begin to move like pieces in a cosmic design, fitting perfectly into heaven's grand blueprint. Visions, too, accompany this communication, not always through physical eyes, but through the gaze of the Spirit. A chosen one may see faces never met, places they have never visited, or symbols woven with meaning so profound that they cannot be dismissed. These are not hallucinations, but revelations, the invisible pressing itself upon the visible. Daniel, in the exile of Babylon, received visions so vivid that he trembled. Yet they carried the map of empires and the unfolding of time. Daniel 7:15. Do you see the weight of this gift, that to carry divine communication is to walk daily with eternity pressing against the fabric of your humanity? And yet with each vision, the chosen learn not only what is to come, but who they must become to stand in that future. The vision is never for entertainment, it is preparation. A divine rehearsal for what will soon break forth into reality. This communion is not confined to religion, but to relationships. It is not about rituals alone, but about a living dialogue that grows deeper with every act of surrender. Saint Teresa of Avila, the Spanish mystic, once described her moments of prayer as speaking to him who I know loves me. Her words show that divine communication is not reserved for the cloistered saint or the exalted prophet, but for any chosen one whose spirit is open. And does not this intimacy terrify and liberate in equal measure that you, fragile and flawed, are yet chosen as a mouthpiece of heaven? Such intimacy transforms not only your prayers but your identity. You begin to live as though every breath is an answer, every silence a message, every step a conversation with the eternal. Art and music have echoed this mystery. In Handel's Messiah, the soaring chorus sings, "For the Lord God omnipotent reigneth," as if the very voices of angels pierce through history to remind the world that God still speaks. Such masterpieces are more than art. They are testimonies of divine communication flowing through human vessels. And if notes and paintbrushes can carry God's whisper, how much more can your soul be tuned as an instrument of His will? What happens when a chosen one realizes their very life is a canvas upon which heaven is painting? Suddenly, their struggles take on new meaning, for even their pain can become brushstrokes in a masterpiece not yet revealed. Yet the danger of this gift cannot be ignored. For every prophet who embraced God's voice, there was a false prophet who twisted it. The Bible warns in Jeremiah 23:16, "Do not listen to the words of the prophets who prophesy to you. They fill you with false hopes. They speak visions from their own minds, not from the mouth of the Lord." History remembers many who claimed divine authority but left ruin behind, like the self-proclaimed prophet Sabbatai Zevi in the 17th century, who deceived thousands with promises of messiahship, only to collapse in disgrace and betrayal. Is this not a chilling reminder that the gift of divine communication, if corrupted, becomes more dangerous than silence itself? And is it not also a reminder of responsibility that those who hear heaven's voice must handle it with fear and trembling, lest they mislead not only themselves but countless others? But when surrendered to God, this gift does not destroy, it builds. It builds bridges where walls stood, clarity where fog consumed, light where shadows reigned. It is like standing in the still center of a battlefield, where swords clash and chaos roars. Yet hearing a voice so calm, so undeniable, that it becomes your anchor. And in that stillness, the chosen one rises. For their foundation is not sand, but the eternal Word of God. The voice that spoke the universe into existence now speaks into their choices, their relationships, their calling, and when they obey, heaven itself advances through them. This gift is personal, unique, and impossible to confine within rigid rules. Each chosen one connects with the divine in their own way, for God does not use a single formula to speak to His people. One may hear a whisper in solitude. Another may sense a tug at the heart while walking through a busy street. And another may feel a sudden stillness fall over them, as though heaven itself pressed pause on time. What matters most is not how it happens, but that the chosen one recognizes when it does. Is this not the very essence of John 14:26, where Jesus promised, "But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, will teach you all things and remind you of everything I have said to you"? The chosen carry this reality as a living truth, not as theory. And when they respect that moment, they discover that what seemed small was, in fact, eternity bending down to protect or direct their steps. Countless testimonies reveal the same pattern. A chosen one hears, "Don't go," and narrowly escapes disaster. Or they feel a sudden invisible push away from danger. Later, they realize it was no coincidence. It was divine intervention, the spiritual hand of care shielding them. Have you ever wondered why others may call it luck? but the chosen know it was guidance. Psalm 91:11 affirms this, declaring, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." Every time they obey, their faith is reinforced. For the impossible keeps becoming possible before their very eyes. And with each act of obedience, their trust in the unseen grows stronger until their life becomes a testimony of providence itself. But this gift does not stop at protection. It transforms the chosen into messengers. They are not reservoirs keeping wisdom to themselves, but channels through which heaven pours into others. A phrase spoken at the right time, a gentle reminder, or even a warning shared in humility can pierce someone's heart like an arrow of light. And how many times has it been proven that such words arrive exactly when they are needed? The Sovereign Lord has given me a well-instructed tongue to know the word that sustains the weary, Isaiah 50:4. Could there be anything more humbling than realizing your voice has been borrowed by heaven to save a soul from despair? Nature itself mirrors this mystery. Fireflies, fragile creatures of the night, emit light not for themselves, but to signal others in the darkness. In the same way, the chosen glow with divine communication, not for their own glory, but to guide others wandering blind in spiritual night. Is this not proof that God hides parables in creation, teaching that his chosen are living lanterns in a world suffocated by shadows, and when they shine, even without realizing, others are drawn into clarity they could never have found alone. Yet with every gift comes danger, and history gives us chilling warnings. In the 2nd century, Montanus, a man who claimed to be the mouthpiece of the Holy Spirit, deceived entire communities with false revelations. What began as zeal spiraled into chaos, division, and despair, leaving followers disillusioned. Is this not evidence that to misuse divine communication is to wield fire without reverence? Jeremiah 23:32 thunders, "Indeed, I am against those who prophesy false dreams. They tell them and lead my people astray with their reckless lies." The chosen must therefore carry this gift with trembling reverence, for their words can heal, but if corrupted, they can also destroy. When embraced rightly, this gift births not blind faith, but a living, felt faith. They chosen trust because they have lived through proofs of God's hand. They have seen prayers answered against all odds, felt protection no human could orchestrate, and walked away from snares that should have trapped them. For we live by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. Their confidence is not naive optimism, but battle-tested conviction forged in the fire of experience. Have you not sensed that once you hear heaven speak, you cannot return to pretending deafness? Revelation demands response. And the chosen know that to delay is to drift into danger. This is why the gift of divine communication carries both blessing and burden. It awakens the chosen to a truth that cannot be ignored. Once the veil is torn back, there is no going back. The revealed truth demands action, even when understanding lags behind. And though obedience may at times feel heavy, it is also the only path to peace. As James 1:22 warns, do not merely listen to the word, and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. To hear and not obey is betrayal. But to hear and obey is alignment with eternity itself. Rise now. Chosen one, do not fear the voice that interrupts your plans. Do not silence the whisper that saves you. Do not bury the word that is meant for others. This dangerous gift is your mantle, and the world desperately needs it. Speak when heaven nudges you. Obey when the Spirit directs you. And shine as the firefly of light in this night of confusion. For the time has come to stand, and let your voice become the echo of God's voice upon the earth. The fourth gift is terrifying in its intensity and luminous in its purpose, the gift of clairvoyance and spiritual clarity. It is not a parlor trick, not the shallow prediction of carnival fortune tellers, but a piercing vision that tears through the veil of illusion. The chosen ones walk with eyes that see beyond the obvious. Perceiving what others desperately try to hide, they see what is behind the curtain, what trembles beneath the surface, what lies in the secret corridors of the soul. Does it not astonish you that while the world accepts only the visible, the chosen discern the invisible, as 2 Kings 6:17 declares? Then Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Such is the nature of this gift, revealing what is present, yet unseen by the blind majority. Clairvoyance in the chosen is not about glamorous visions of the future, but about an unshakable awareness of the hidden. When a smile is laced with betrayal, they feel it ripple like static in the air. When danger lurks behind calm appearances, they sense the tremor beneath the floorboards. Why does this perception feel like stepping into a second dimension where reality is stripped of lies? Because it is. Hebrews 5:13 affirms, "Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of him to whom we must give account." And through this gift, chosen ones borrow a fraction of that divine sight, seeing threads others cannot grasp. This ability manifests in countless ways. For some, it is visual, flashes of images, internal visions, faces or scenes that seem to appear from nowhere. For others, it comes as sensations, a sudden chill down the spine, tingling skin, a heaviness in the chest that refuses to leave until truth emerges. Still, others experience it as knowledge rising fully formed, like a spring bursting through dry ground, no source, no process, only certainty. Have you ever wondered how one person can know danger is near while everyone else laughs carelessly? It is because their spirit is tuned to a frequency beyond the reach of human reason. Jesus himself said in Matthew 13:16, "But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear." Is the raided in dreams? This gift awakens with startling clarity, while others wake and forget. The chosen rise with images that cling to them like living fire symbols that demand interpretation, messages that insist on being carried. Daniel, gifted with dreams and visions, interpreted mysteries of kings that determined the fate of empires. Daniel 2:19. And is it not true that the chosen today still walk in that same lineage, carrying visions that unsettle them yet preserve them, dreams that are more real than waking hours, flashes that come in daylight, scenes that erupt into their mind without permission? Spiritual clarity is the twin flame of clairvoyance. Where clairvoyance shows the hidden, clarity gives it meaning. Without clarity, the vision would be chaos. With clarity, it becomes divine instruction. Science itself offers metaphors for this gift. Physicists speak of resonance frequencies, hidden vibrations that shape matter though unseen by the eye. Architects design cathedrals where invisible mathematics guide every curve, producing harmony that worshippers can feel but not measure. Is this not exactly how spiritual clarity works? A hidden architecture guiding perception. Psychology calls it hyper-awareness. Scripture calls it prophecy. Numbers, symbols, signs in daily life. These are not coincidences, but frequencies from heaven intersecting with time. Ecclesiastes 3:11 tells us, He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. The chosen read those eternal signals while the world stumbles past them. Real life. 2. Testifies. In a village in the Philippines, a fisherman named Esteban once refused to take his boat out despite perfect weather. He said, "Something in my spirit tightened." Hours later, a sudden storm capsized every boat on that route. He alone survived because he trusted the invisible warning. Such ordinary stories prove that the gift is not limited to prophets in ancient books, but flows even through the humblest souls who dare to listen. And yet, does this not show how responsibility weighs on the chosen, that to see is to act, and to act is to obey? But there are also sobering lessons from those who distorted this gift. In 16th century Europe, Gilles de Rais, once a celebrated military leader, abandoned divine clarity for obsession with occult visions. His descent led not to enlightenment, but to unspeakable crimes that destroyed countless lives. What greater warning could there be? Clairvoyance without surrender to God becomes darkness masquerading as light. As Isaiah 5:20 declares, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness." The Kennedys found 2:19. The chosen who embrace this gift rightly become guardians of hidden truth. They discern intentions before masks fall. They hear warnings before disasters strike. They carry messages before hearts even know they are ready. Their eyes are sharpened not to boast, but to serve. And though at times it feels like a burden, in reality it is their shield, their lamp, their sword. Have you realized yet that when God sharpens your vision, He is not merely revealing secrets, He is equipping you to walk as a warrior between realms? When the outside world collapses into confusion and contradictions, it is in that very chaos that the soul of the chosen one cries out with clarity. The mind may stumble, tangled in unanswered questions, but the heart knows the direction with a certainty that no reasoning can erase. This is the essence of spiritual clarity. It does not always provide a map of the entire journey, but it shines a lamp on the very next step. Your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. Is it not extraordinary that while others drown in hesitation, the chosen step forward with a quiet conviction that appears reckless to the world but is perfectly aligned with heaven? This gift empowers the chosen to make decisions that defy human logic, yet carry the fragrance of divine wisdom. They may abandon what looks safe to pursue what feels dangerous, yet their soul knows it is the path of truth. They may move to a new city with no guarantee, cut ties with someone everyone else trusts, or start a work that others ridicule. Why would anyone risk everything on a whisper from within? Because faith, sharpened by spiritual clarity, moves them beyond the illusions of surface logic. As Proverbs 3:5 affirms, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." Each risky choice becomes a cornerstone in the unseen architecture of their destiny, a building plan drafted by the hands of God. Those who carry this gift also perceive spiritual patterns hidden in daily life. They see cycles repeating, connections others call coincidence, lessons coded into hardship. Have you not sensed that even in your darkest trial, there was something God was trying to teach? And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. Romans 8:28. What the unawakened call random, the chosen discern as a message. A butterfly landing on their hand during prayer becomes more than beauty. It becomes a reminder of transformation. A song playing at the exact moment of doubt speaks louder than any preacher. A falling object, a fleeting symbol, an unexpected word, all of them transform into divine signs in the language of the Spirit. Art and music testify to this clarity. In Mozart's Great Mass in C minor, the trembling intensity of the Kyrie echoes the plea of every soul desperate for direction. Yet woven into its notes is resolution, a reminder that divine truth answers even in dissonance. Does this not mirror how the chosen feel? Catching glimpses of meaning hidden in life's noise, spiritual clarity gives them ears to hear, not just the music, but the message. Not just the rhythm, but the revelation. Yet, with this gift comes pain. To see what others cannot is often to feel isolated. To know the intentions behind the mask is to feel the sting of betrayal long before it happens. To sense negativity when everyone else is blind is to carry a burden others mock. Why is it that seeing deeper often feels like walking alone? Jeremiah lamented this same loneliness. I sat alone because your hand was on me, and you had filled me with indignation. Jeremiah 15:17. Those with spiritual clarity must therefore cultivate balance, grounding themselves not only in emotion, but in unshakable faith. Without this grounding, the gift can feel like a curse. Real life offers echoes of this truth. A Brazilian nurse named Luisa once shared that during her shift, she suddenly felt a wave of dread over a patient who appeared perfectly stable, trusting the inner alarm. She rushed for help. Minutes later, the patient's heart stopped, but because of her action, he survived. Luisa said, "It wasn't medicine that warned me. It was something higher." Such testimonies prove that spiritual clarity is not theory, it is a living intervention. But the world also shows the danger of distortion. History records the rise of Rasputin, the mystic who claimed vision and divine authority in the court of Russia. His so-called insights twisted into manipulation, leading to destruction for those who trusted him blindly. Is this not the warning that seeing without surrender leads to ruin? As Ezekiel 13:6 warns, their visions are false and their divinations a lie. Even though the Lord has not sent them, they say, the Lord declares, and expect him to fulfill their words. True clarity requires purity. Without it, the gift mutates into poison. And so, the chosen who carry clairvoyance and clarity live on the edge of wonder and wait. They are given sight to walk, but also the strength to endure. Their task is not simply to perceive, but to act in alignment with what is revealed. For every vision that unsettles them, there is also the promise that God's hand sustains them. They live as guardians of hidden patterns, interpreters of divine codes, and prophets of light in a world addicted to blindness. Rise, chosen one. Do not shrink from the gift that isolates you, for it is also the gift that arms you. Lift your head, steady your soul, and walk boldly with the eyes God has given you. For if the world is stumbling in darkness, then your sight is the very torch they need. The fifth gift is a fire that refuses to be extinguished, the gift of connection with mission. The chosen ones can never be satisfied with a common, shallow existence, for something louder than comfort constantly calls them. They may attempt to settle into routines, live within society's expectations, follow the safe scripts written by others. Yet deep within, an insistent whisper shakes their soul. You came for something greater. Does it not unsettle you to realize that while many live only to survive, the chosen are haunted by a purpose too vast to ignore? Jeremiah 1-5 resounds with this reality. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. The chosen cannot run from this truth, for their very DNA is encoded with destiny. From their earliest days, a holy restlessness burns in them. While others are content with small pleasures, they question rules, challenge structures, and see injustice not as background noise, but as a call to arms. They look at the suffering of people and cry silently. How can I do differently? How can I become part of the answer? Is this not the very same fire that stirred Moses, who left the luxury of Pharaoh's palace because he could not ignore the oppression of his people? Exodus 2:11, 1-2. What the world calls dissatisfaction is, in truth, divine agitation. The heavens' way of pushing the chosen out of conformity into calling. This gift grows fiercer with time. When the chosen enter environments that suffocate their spirit, jobs driven only by money, relationships devoid of meaning, circles empty of truth, their soul does not stay silent. It begins to scream, shattering false peace. The prophet Amos declared, "The lion has roared, who will not fear? The sovereign Lord has spoken, who can but prophesy?" Amos 3-8. Like that roar, the mission within the chosen refuses to be tamed. Have you not felt that same unrest, where no matter how you try to bury it, a purpose keeps breaking through the soil of your spirit? Nature itself provides an image of this fire. Consider the salmon, which swims upstream against raging currents, bruised and battered, yet unstoppable, because instinct pulls it toward its purpose of giving life. The chosen mirror this struggle, even when everything around them shouts, "Stop, it's too hard." An inner current keeps pushing them forward. They fall, they fail, they break, but still they rise. For the mission is stronger than the obstacles. Is it not proof that destiny always demands resistance, and that what survives the current is always stronger? Real life also tells the story. Maria, a schoolteacher from Mexico, once confessed that though her salary was small and her resources limited, she could never leave her classroom. "Every time I thought about quitting," she said, "a student's eyes would remind me why I was here." For her, teaching was not employment, but a mission. Her story reveals that mission does not always manifest in grand stages. It often breathes in the quiet places where lives are transformed one by one. Yet history also gives warnings of those who betrayed this gift. Emperor Domitian of Rome, obsessed with power and fear, rejected every whisper of higher calling. He lived only to control, stamping out voices of faith, persecuting Christians, and exalting his throne above divine purpose. His legacy ended in paranoia, assassination, and disgrace. A reminder that to live without mission is to die without meaning. Proverbs 29-18 speaks with clarity. Where there is no vision, the people perish. If this is true for nations, how much more for individuals chosen by God, for those who embrace it? This gift manifests as an unstoppable inner force. It propels the chosen forward even when circumstances scream defeat. When they collapse, they rise. When they fail, they learn. When they are broken, they rebuild stronger. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs 24-16. The mission of the chosen is rarely about their comfort. It is about impact. Sometimes it explodes on grand stages. Other times it whispers through hidden service. But always it touches lives, heals wounds, awakens sleepers, and inspires hearts. This gift never lies dormant. It always transforms. It always leaves marks. It always plants seeds that cannot be uprooted. The chosen one feels an insatiable urge to help, even when their hands seem empty, even when their pockets lack resources, even when their mind cries, "You are not ready." And yet their spirit insists on serving, insists on shining, insists on leaving the world brighter than they found it. Is it not striking that such passion cannot be learned, cannot be taught, but is instead woven into the very soul of the chosen, as Ephesians 2:10 declares, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Destiny itself cries out within them, refusing to let them settle for less than their divine assignment. This gift carries with it a unique courage. Even when fear gnaws at their bones, they chosen step forward. Even without guarantees, they trust. For deep within, they know they are not alone. Invisible hands steady them, unseen arms uphold them, and mysterious currents of providence push them forward. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1-9. Why else would someone walk into fire when everyone else runs away? Because they sense a presence greater than danger, a voice louder than fear, a mission stronger than death. Their courage is not recklessness, it resonates with heaven's frequency. And in many cases, pain is part of that mission. The chosen endure battles that cut deep, storms that strip them bare, betrayals that leave scars. Yet over time they learn that every wound was training, every fall was rehearsal, every heartbreak was chiseling. Like a sculptor striking marble, the blows are painful, but they carve out beauty. Romans 8:18 proclaim, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." Have you not noticed that those who carry the greatest missions often also carry the deepest scars? Their pain is not punishment, it is preparation. Nature bears witness to this mystery. The forest fire that devastates acres of land, leaving ashes in its wake. Yet from those ashes, seeds hidden beneath the soil break open, and new life surges forth stronger than before. Is this not the same with the chosen? Their trials may look like destruction, but in reality, they are catalysts for rebirth. Pain becomes the fertile soil where mission takes root, and scars become the proof that nothing was wasted. Real life confirms it too. In Poland, a bus driver named Andrzej once shared that after losing his job and health in the same year, he nearly gave up. But during that time of despair, he began driving neighbors to hospitals and helping the elderly buy food with his own small savings. Years later, he founded a community service group that now supports hundreds. "If I had not been broken," he said, "I would never have found my true mission." His testimony shows that even ordinary lives, crushed by hardship, can give extraordinary purpose. Yet history also warns us of the opposite. Pharaoh of Exodus, hardened by pride, ignored every sign and every plea from Moses. Instead of embracing a higher mission, he clung to power and oppression. The result was catastrophic plagues, ruin, the drowning of his army in the Red Sea. Exodus 15:28 declares. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen, the entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea. Not one of them survived. Is this not proof that rejecting God's mission leads not only to personal downfall, but to the collapse of entire empires? The chosen, however, come to understand that every season of their life has been preparation. Each failure sharpened resilience. Each heartbreak deepened compassion. Each delay built patience. 2 Corinthians 4:10 reminds us, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." Perhaps everything you have lived up to this moment has been divine architecture, carefully designed to bring you to the threshold of your mission today. And is it not clear now that nothing in your story was wasted? Rise, chosen one. Do not let fear silence you. Do not let pain paralyze you. Do not let scars define you. What you carry is not a dream, it is destiny. The world waits for the mission only you can release. Stand, speak, shine, for the time has come to step fully into what heaven has prepared for you. The sixth gift burns like an unbreakable shield around the chosen, the gift of protection and resilience. Every chosen one carries the same mark. They have endured storms that should have shattered them, yet they still stand. They have walked through fires that left others in ashes, but an invisible hand lifted them before they collapsed. Can you not feel the mystery of this? While many crumble under the weight of suffering, the chosen discover that no weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. Isaiah 54:17. What others call survival is, in truth, divine protection at work. When all seems lost, when every sign screams defeat, a force unseen refuses to let the chosen remain down for long. They rise again, even if battered, even if scarred, because heaven has written endurance into their spirit. This is not merely emotional toughness, it is spiritual fortitude, a hidden power rooted in the eternal. They are like a fortress designed by the greatest architect of heaven, structured with invisible arches of grace, foundations dug deeper than fear, and walls that reverberate with the frequency of faith. The Lord is my rock, my fortress and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge. Psalm 18:2. And is it not true that when everyone else gives up, the chosen still press forward with a faith that refuses to die? This resilience manifests most clearly when all others surrender. When the chosen lose jobs, they find purpose. When relationships collapse, they rediscover identity. When health falters, their spirit grows stronger. Have you not noticed how pain, instead of breaking them, sharpens them like steel tempered in fire? James 1:12 affirms, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life." Their suffering is not wasted, it is training. Their setbacks are not punishments, they are platforms for wisdom. Nature testifies to this hidden protection. The banyan tree, struck by storms year after year, survives because its roots spread wide and deep, intertwining into an unseen network that no wind can uproot. The chosen are like that tree. Winds batter them, storms surround them, yet because their roots cling to God, they remain. Why does resilience look unnatural to the world? Because it is not of this world. It is the power of divine design. Real life proves it too. A young woman named Clara from Nairobi once shared how, after surviving a tragic accident that killed many around her, she realized she was spared for a reason. "I should have been gone," she whispered. "But somehow I walked away. Now I live like every day is borrowed grace." Her testimony shows how chosen ones often escape what destroys others, not by luck, but by purpose. Psalm 91:7 echoes her story. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. In Perstrine. History also provides warnings of the opposite. King Herod, swollen with pride and cruelty, sought to destroy the innocent. But Acts 12:23 recounts his end immediately, because Herod did not give praise to God. An angel of the Lord struck him down, and he was eaten by worms and died. Is this not a chilling contrast? While the chosen are lifted by protection, those who oppose divine order collapse under judgment. The lesson is undeniable. Protection flows where humility meets destiny, but destruction awaits those who oppose heaven's design. And there is another dimension to this gift. Protection often speaks through intuition. The chosen sense danger before it strikes. They feel the chill in a room, the heaviness in a handshake, the whisper in their spirit telling them to step back. Have you ever wondered why delays that seemed frustrating later saved you from tragedy? Or why a closed door that felt painful turned out to be deliverance? Proverbs 2:11 says, "Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you." The chosen know this verse not as theory, but as living reality. This gift, however, it does not make life easy. It makes it purposeful. The chosen are not immune to pain, but they are immune to destruction. They do not escape the furnace, but like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in Daniel 3:27, they emerge without even the smell of fire on their clothes. They do not avoid battles, but they are forged into warriors who cannot be crushed. And when they rise again and again, does it not prove that their story is written by a hand greater than their own? There are moments when the chosen cannot even explain the sudden discomfort that grips them. They feel uneasy, restless, almost out of place, yet they later discover they were spared from dangers they never even saw. Have you not experienced this? When only in hindsight did you realize that a mysterious delay, an unplanned detour, or an inexplicable hesitation saved you from disaster. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. Psalm 91:4. That invisible presence, silent yet commanding, shields the chosen from traps they were never aware of. What others call coincidence is, in truth, divine intervention that moves faster than the schemes of the enemy. When spiritual, emotional, or verbal attacks rain down, the chosen stand is guarded by an unseen army. The darts of gossip, envy, betrayal, and hate may bruise them, but they never destroy them. They may stumble under the pressure, but they never remain on the ground. Why? Because the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Psalm 34:7. The chosen live with a sense that they are always surrounded, always watched over, always kept by a hand greater than theirs. Have you not noticed that no matter how hard the opposition strikes, the chosen rise from blows that should have ended them? This supernatural defense reveals itself most vividly in resilience. They feel pain. Yes, they bleed. They cry. They ache. Yet, unlike others, they do not remain crushed. They rise, and not just rise, but rise with a fiercer strength, a sharper clarity, a deeper connection to their mission. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, struck down, but not destroyed. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. The chosen carry resilience not as theory, but as reality carved into their scars. Their every comeback is proof that they are being lifted by a force beyond flesh and blood. Is it not astonishing that their lowest valleys prepare them for their highest victories? Nature whispers the same truth. Think of volcanic soil, born from destruction, blackened and lifeless at first glance, yet it becomes the richest ground, producing harvests that ordinary soil cannot. The chosen mirror this mystery. Their suffering looks devastating, but from it springs fruit no ordinary life could bear. Their resilience is like nature's law rewritten into their spirit. Out of ashes, life out of storms. Strength. Real life affirms it too. A man named Tomasz, a carpenter in Poland, once lost his home to a fire. For months he wept, working only with borrowed tools. Yet he refused to give up. Years later, with nothing but persistence, he rebuilt not only his house, but also created a workshop that now trains young men in his village. "The fire destroyed my walls," he said, "but it built my purpose." His story proves that chosen ones do not remain victims. They transform loss into a foundation for destiny. But history warns us with chilling clarity of the opposite. Consider Jezebel, queen of Israel, who lived in arrogance and cruelty, using manipulation and violence to secure her throne, though she thought herself untouchable. 2 Kings 9:36 records her end. On the plot of ground at Jezreel, dogs will devour Jezebel's flesh. Her story reveals the fate of those who wage war against the chosen. Their apparent power crumbles into disgrace. Is this not evidence that while the chosen rise through resilience, their enemies collapse under their own corruption? For the chosen, even loss takes on new meaning. They learn that nothing is wasted, not the fall, not the silence, not the grief. Each scar becomes a teacher, each delay a redirection, each storm a preparation. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. Romans 8:28. Have you not wondered how peace can exist even in the middle of storms? It is because chosen ones have learned that their lives are not accidents, but assignments. Every chapter serving the mission they carry. Rise now, chosen one. Do not let fear convince you that you are fragile. You have been struck, but you are not destroyed. You have been tested, but you have not been forsaken. Stand boldly, for resilience is your testimony and protection of your crown. Let the world see that no force of darkness can bury what heaven has marked as unbreakable. The seventh gift is both breathtaking and dangerous, the gift of spiritual return. The unbreakable law of cause and effect. For the chosen, this is not theory, it is lived reality. Etched into their very skin, every act, every word, every hidden intention returns like an echo across eternity, louder than when it first left. Is it not terrifying to know that what you sow never dies, but always finds its way back multiplied? Galatians 6-7 thunders this truth. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows, and the chosen, more than anyone, live under the intensity of that reaping. For them, nothing disappears into silence. Thoughts carry weight. Words ripple like stones across water. Actions trigger consequences that cannot be erased. This gift is a heightened awareness of the law of return. It strikes with incredible force in the lives of the chosen. When they sow kindness, blessings chase them visibly. When they err, even unintentionally, they feel immediate correction pressing upon them. Yet this is not cruelty. It is alignment, a divine recalibration pulling them back onto the narrow road. Hebrews 12:6 explains, "Because the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he chastens everyone he accepts as his son." Have you not realized that chosen ones cannot drift far into error without being swiftly pulled back? Life for them is like walking through a spiritual architecture of mirrors. Every intention reflects back, clearer and stronger. They cannot live on autopilot because heaven will not allow it. Their path is narrower, sharper, demanding integrity. Why does the correction come so fast for them but so slowly for others? Because their lives are not ordinary, they are assignments. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life. Matthew 7:13-14. For the chosen, every deviation becomes a lesson. Every slip becomes an immediate summons back to purpose. Nature speaks this law. The boomerang, when thrown, always arcs back toward its origin. The chosen are like that. Their actions circle quickly back upon them, teaching them responsibility. If they offer compassion, help arrives later in surprising forms. If they wound another, even in carelessness, they are confronted almost instantly with the sting of consequence. Have you not noticed how chosen ones often say, "I knew I shouldn't have done that," only to see their misstep mirrored back the next day? Ecclesiastes 11:1 whispers this same mystery. "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." The client have first life first. Real life affirms this too. A young woman named Elena, a tailor in Romania, once gave her last jacket to a freezing child on the street. Days later, when her workshop burned down, strangers arrived with donations and clothing, enough to rebuild. Elena wept as she said, "What I gave away returned to me multiplied." Her story proves that chosen ones live under a faster, stronger return. They reap what they sow, not in decades, but often in days. But history warns of the opposite. Take the example of Haman in the book of Esther, who built gallows for Mordecai, the righteous man. Yet Esther 7:10 records, so they impaled Haman on the pole he had set up for Mordecai. Is this not the ultimate display of spiritual return, where evil plots collapse upon their own maker? And outside of Scripture, history echoes the same fate. Tyrants who inflicted cruelty often met violent ends, undone by the very snares they laid for others. This gift awakens in the chosen a deep sense of responsibility. They begin to weigh thoughts, words, and actions not casually but consciously, knowing every seed matters. They learn that planting is not neutral, it is spiritual legislation written into reality. Proverbs 11:18 declares, "A wicked person earns deceptive wages, but the one who sows righteousness reaps a sure reward." And because chosen ones live under this heightened resonance, they walk the earth as both cautionary signs and blazing examples of this eternal truth. The universe does not deal lightly with the chosen. It treats them with a justice so fine, so exact, that it feels as if their very breath is weighed on scales of eternity. This is why many chosen ones face storms immediately after straying from their spiritual path. They cannot wander too far without the weight of dissonance crashing into their soul. Have you not felt this inner unease when everything looks normal outside? Yet deep inside, you know something is out of alignment. Proverbs 3:12 explains it clearly. Because the Lord disciplines those he loves. As a father, the son he delights in. For the chosen, discipline is not punishment. It is proof of divine affection. This heightened sensitivity becomes their compass, pushing them back into alignment with good, with truth, with mission. They feel dissonance like a musician cringing at a wrong note in a symphony. And when harmony is restored, their spirit resonates like an instrument tuned to the frequency of heaven. Is this not the deeper meaning of Romans 2:6? God will repay each person according to what they have done. The chosen live as if this verse were tattooed onto their bones, for they cannot escape its reality. Their empathy deepens with each lesson, because they see more clearly than others how tightly all things are connected. This awareness reshapes their every action. They think twice before speaking words of harm, before planting seeds of bitterness, because they know those seeds grow back swiftly. Even the smallest wrongdoing returns as a lesson sharp, precise, undeniable. And when they sow kindness, blessings return multiplied, often in ways they never expect. Have you not noticed how the chosen often find themselves blessed in the exact area where they once sacrificed? 2 Corinthians 9:6 confirms it. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. That Christ, this gift also softens their heart toward forgiveness. They know they do not need to carry hatred or to hunt for vengeance, for justice is already woven into the structure of reality. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, "It is mine to avenge, I will repay," says the Lord. Romans 12:19. Does this not set them free? When the chosen understand that no deed escapes the divine equation, they release their grip on bitterness. They forgive not because the wound was small, but because they trust that the law of return will take care of what their hands cannot. The arts echo this truth. In Dante's Divine Comedy, the souls in hell suffer not arbitrary punishments, but precise consequences that mirror their earthly sins. What is this, if not a poetic reflection of the same law? For the chosen, life itself becomes a sacred drama where every act, every motive, every intention is mirrored back in time. Their lives are theaters of divine justice, and they live with a reverence others cannot fathom. Real life testifies too. Samuel, a farmer in Ghana, once cheated his neighbor in a deal over land. Within weeks, his crops failed mysteriously while his neighbor's fields thrived. Samuel later confessed, "I felt God was speaking louder through my soil than through words." From that moment, he lived honestly, warning others that nothing escapes the law of return. His story reminds us that chosen ones experience justice not in the next lifetime alone, but here, swiftly and undeniably. History, however, reveals the fate of those who mocked this law. King Belshazzar of Babylon desecrated holy vessels and praised idols of gold and silver while feasting that very night. As Daniel 5:30 records, Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain. Is this not chilling proof that when arrogance ignores divine justice, consequences arrive suddenly and without mercy? This gift, though heavy, brings peace. The chosen no longer strive to control outcomes, nor do they spend nights plotting revenge. They live lighter because they know everything returns in its time. Every wrong is addressed. Every good is remembered. Eclesiastes 12:14 Ashu Jesus. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. Their peace is not naive. It is born from certainty that divine justice is already in motion. Rise, chosen one. Do not resist this dangerous gift of return. Guard your thoughts. Guard your words. Guard your deeds. For eternity, listen to them all. Live with the urgency of one who knows that nothing is wasted, and stand boldly as a witness that God's justice is precise, swift, and unstoppable. Chosen one, now you see the truth laid bare. These 7 gifts are not ordinary talents. They are sacred weapons, entrusted to you because heaven knew you could carry their weight. They are dangerous because they separate you. They discipline you. They call you higher than the crowd. But they are also glorious, because through them you shine light into darkness. You carry healing into brokenness, and you walk with a power the world cannot explain. These gifts are not burdens. They are proof that you were chosen to shake generations. Do you feel it burning in your spirit now? And because of this, your life can never again be the same. You cannot shrink back into mediocrity. You cannot silence the voice of destiny. You must rise and live boldly. For the gifts inside you demand expression. As 2 Timothy 1:6 declares, fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you. Today is the day to fan those flames. Today is the day to stop hiding. Today is the day to stand as who you truly are, God's chosen one. If this message stirred something in your soul, I invite you to take action now, like this video. Share it with others who need this word. Leave a comment below to declare your agreement. And subscribe so you never miss the revelations and guidance that heaven is pouring out here. And if you've supported this channel through super thanks, I honor you deeply from my heart. But even if all you've done is show up, listen, and receive, know that I am grateful for you, because your presence proves you are part of this chosen family. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you and give you peace. May every dangerous gift within you rise to its fullness, and may you walk in strength, clarity, and unstoppable faith. You are chosen. You are protected. You are loved, and your story is just beginning.